So let's get moving. We will be hearing from the LA team, Louise Avery, who I'm sure most of you will know at this stage, the LA behind L.A Brewery, Meg Ellis, who's our managing director, and Mark Palmer, who is co-founder and non-exec director. So I think we'll start at the beginning with Mrs. Louise. Could you tell us a little bit about why you started L.A Brewery, what makes your drinks stand out in the market, and how LA drinks are catering to current consumer trends?
Yes, do we need to just check everyone can hear us very well?
We okay?
I'm going to assume there's a way of just sending a...
Yeah, I think Louise said.
Okay, great, perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Ellen. It's good to see you all, even though I can only see your names. Lovely to meet you. Thank you for joining us. I'll just briefly, some of you know this story, but just to go back to why I started this business, 10 years or so ago, actually a bit longer now, I fell in love with fermentation and I tasted some kombucha in the States actually, and it sort of inspired some future ideas for me. And I essentially fell in love with the taste profile of fermented drinks and fermented foods, and this one especially because it triggered all kinds of receptors in my mouth. And the reason I started the business was I was living in Mull. It was a time when I was essentially trying to look at my health. I'd actually cut down on my drinking. Gut health was actually coming into recognition, and I was searching for a lower sugar drink. And all of those reasons that I started making the drink then are the same reasons I do it now. And it's all very relevant. These trends have not gone away. And when I started making the drinks, I worked out I could manipulate the flavors, and I started playing around with white teas and black teas and green teas. And I worked out that depending on the way I fermented it, I could make it taste anywhere from a champagne to a cider or a beer. And then I started really leaning into nature, and I would go and pick the wild hops or the raspberries or whatever was in season. And then after I moved back to London, I sort of seeded the idea a bit more, and I started selling these drinks in my local restaurant, which was in Islington. And bit by bit, the business sort of gained some traction, and I would essentially go to my mother's apple orchards or wherever I was going at the weekend or the farmer's market and just experiment. Anyway, fast forward to 2017, I had this little sort of collection of drinks which were quite popular, and we started selling them as an alternative to alcohol and as a food pairing. And I met my business partners, one of which is Mark, and we built our first brewery in Suffolk. And things have developed since then. And again, going back to the point, I've really sort of lent into those ideas, and some of you will be familiar, but we make drinks, which are again, like the champagne flavors we discussed. And this really works. And I think although it's only just started in this form in the market, it's growing rapidly. And the reason it works so well is the fermented tea essentially trips those receptors. So we have acid receptors in our cheek, and lots of people talk about the feeling in their cheeks when they drink white wine, and even more so when they drink champagne. And so what happens is you go on this journey where your sweet receptors, your sour receptors, even you like umami receptors on your tongue are all triggered. And then there's also a viscosity, which means they sit on the tongue a little longer. And all of these elements together basically create satisfaction and make it the perfect alternative to alcohol, because they create this hook. And when we're looking for something to replace drinking, there's a lot of need states to be met. We need it to feel special. We like a bit of ritualism, and we like each sip to satisfy us. And what we found with their drinks, and what I was really going for, is to create a hook. And so that's always in my mind. I'm sort of thinking, what's going to make people go back? And we've developed a range of drinks around that. So we have this one, which has rose petals and elderflower. We have one which is a alternative to a rosé, sparkling rosé, which is a blush. And each of these products, you know, I spent years developing, and yeah, I mean, I won't go on too much about it because I know that I've only got a limited period of time. But yeah, I hope we've achieved that, and I hope that you've tried them, and I'm excited about to talk about it more, but I'm gonna let the others speak on the business side because I could go on all day.
Fair. Beautiful as always. Thank you, Louise. So next question. What market trends have you seen that present opportunities for L.A Brewery? And maybe we'll go to Mark for this one.
Okay, thank you, Ellen. Hi, everyone. My name's Mark. I'm one of the co-founders, along with Louise and William Kendall. So I've been involved with the business from the start. My background is working 25 years in food and drink, primarily in marketing, and I've been fortunate to be involved with a number of up-and-coming food and drink brands, including the likes of Green and Black's Chocolates, Union Hand Roasted Coffee. Spent 6 years as marketing director at Pret a Manger, so seeing a broad set of food and drink trends on the high street there, and also one of the co-founders of Causton Press. So soft drinks, an adjacent category to where L.A Brewery is seeking to operate. I guess the biggest thing I've seen, if I were to reflect on the experience from all of those businesses over the last 25 years, the biggest single trend is a premiumization around the quality of the food and drink that we're all eating and drinking. Sometimes that's called the craft movement, certainly has been in the beer industry. But if you look at coffee, you look at soft drinks, alcohol, certainly all food that we're eating, whether we're discovering things at farmers markets and now increasingly buying those sort of things through supermarkets, the underlying movement is people taking greater interest and being more aware of the quality of ingredients and the excellent sort of principles around how to make better quality, better made food and drink. So to me, that's the biggest single movement in the food and drinks industry that's happened in recent decades, and I see no end to that. I think it will continue to happen. Many of you will have seen in the press recently heightened coverage around the debate around sweeteners, and again how ultra-processed food is becoming under greater scrutiny. And I think we can expect all of these topics just to continue to accelerate in terms of customers' understanding. When it comes to LA, the reason I was excited to get involved with this business and continue to invest in it personally today is not just the macro movement around better quality ingredients and food and drink products, but an additional surge of interest, a wave around people thinking about the drinks they may enjoy when they're not drinking, and that's sometimes described as the low and no alcohol movement. But broadly, if you look at what's happening now, a third of young adults are not drinking at all. So they're not actually reducing alcohol. They've not been drinking alcohol to start with. They've been consuming good quality coffee, perhaps in a way that people that grew up 20 or 30 years weren't doing. So these are not people that necessarily have grown up drinking mainstream fizzy drinks. They have a more sophisticated palate. They're not drinking alcohol at all, and therefore their demands for a refreshing and satisfying and sophisticated drink are far greater than we've seen in previous years. So that up and coming generation are a key primary target audience for LA. But also we also have the fact that many people are trying to moderate the amounts of alcohol that they're drinking. Interestingly, the statistics show that most people that drink low and no drinks also do drink. So it's about moderation rather than teetotalers. And we really embrace that at LA. We think that our best customers are people that probably enjoy fine wine once in a while and really lovely beers and spirits, but are looking just to add non-alcoholic alternatives into their repertoires. But they are very demanding around taste and quality, and they're looking for something that's more sophisticated and exciting, because they see the fact that a drink is non-alcoholic shouldn't mean that it has to be a step back in terms of excitement and sophistication for those occasions. So those are the kind of reasons that I'm still excited to be a part of this business and to work alongside Louise, Megan, the team, and happy to take any questions at the end once we've covered the other items. But thank you for joining today.
Good stuff, thank you. And building on that, What are the LA Brewery growth plans for a successful 2024 and beyond, Meg?
Me? Well, I never tire of these two stories and these two perspectives. My background is in consumer brands, consumer experiences, and what attracted me to this business. I'm actually 6 months in, but have known the business for a lot longer than that, and have known the people involved for a lot longer than that. Was about the people and about the product. And when I tasted it for the first time, at that point, I hadn't met Louise, and I could just taste something really exciting in it. Then I met Louise and she told me the story. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's how exciting it is.
Accidental.
Gotta get me some. I mean, I genuinely, I never tire of it. Like, I think that you can taste the passion that Louise and the knowledge that Louise has in these drinks, and they create, as Mark's defined, a space in the market that's really exciting. And you know, we're ready, we're there. Plenty more we can do, but we're ready to serve that part of the market. So it was the people involved in the product that attracted me to the business in the first place. In terms of growth, growth for this year and beyond. I also have a sort of marketing and brand background, but I've always strayed across a bit broader, because growth to me is marketing is business, growth is growth. And I see that on the top line, that, you know, people sort of understand growth to be more sales, more top line. It's right through the P&L, you know. So I start actually with our people, and it's my job to support the brilliant team that we've got here to be the best versions of themselves, to develop themselves and bring LA along with them as they grow their own careers. And we have got such high caliber in this team. So that in terms of growth, it's in our people. Then when I talk about the business and the performance, the top line, yeah, you know, there's some really clear plans about how we're going to tackle top line growth. And I'm pleased to say that they are informed by really, really sort of increasingly rich data. So that is just signalling to me very clearly where we go. You know, we really need to understand the performance of our P&L and the profitability of our different channels to market, go hard after the ones that are very strong and good for us, and ensure that we've got some space to experiment. So what that means for 24 is first area that we've learned some incredible lessons is in our direct consumer business, so our own website. You know, let's be clear. You know, we are in control of our margins in that channel, which is very helpful, and we have a huge and rich data set that comes off that customer base. And we have pulled a few levers there, and we have seen fantastic results. Ellen is our brand manager and is accountable for much of that. And that's been a really exciting development. And that really is, you know, how far are you prepared to go with that one? So we've got all sorts of plans for 24 to see, you know, right round the digital flywheel, how we can leverage that channel. In terms of the on-trade and spanning into sort of what we call speciality and health out of home. So these are the cafes, the farm shops, the coffee houses, the delis. We have had some incredible wins in this space, from national recognised restaurant chains to very cool, influential single sites. And we have got a proven formula to win in those spaces, and we'll continue to do that. Our wholesale partners that supply a lot of those venues, I see those as partners. You know, they're partnerships, and our efforts there need to be around building a partnership with those wholesalers, bringing them new customers so everyone grows. So that's another space. Winning in grocery, we've got a great relationship with a major online grocery retailer, and that is not the same as a bricks and mortar experience. We really want to get the product into as many people's mouths as possible, and, you know, really to get that reach through grocery is important to us. So we're looking hard at how we might be able to achieve that in 2024. And our experimentation that I talked of, there are other spaces that this brand really works for, and that might be looking at the wedding industry, it might be looking at the wine sector. So we're spending some time in those spaces this year to see how, as Louise has described and Mark's articulated, you know, these products really work for some of those need states and some of those occasions. So That's where I see growth, and that's actually top line. Through the line, it's just my job. We are a brewery. We are making our own product end to end with minimal processing, and I have got deep scrutiny on those lines because we need to do that in an efficient way as possible for all that hard fought top line business that needs to, we need to keep a hold of as much of that upside as we can for the effort that has gone into securing it. So looking through those middle lines of the P&L as well. Growth right through, all and around and right through.
L.A Brewery takeover. And so
Oh, the world.
So we've heard about the L.A Brewery story, market trends, opportunities, and growth plans for 2024. And now we would like to open the floor for a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. And we also have a couple of questions that have come in on the discussion board and emailed to answer. So I might start with those and you can get your comments in. But one of the ones we've had in was, will the low sugar and natural approach continue to be a focus within the alcohol alternative sector?
I'll take this one.
Louise, do you want to take that?
So I'm going to speak personally about our business and then the sector. So within our business, we are only going to focus on that more and more. It's something that's always been incredibly close to my heart. And in my dreams, we'll be working with more local suppliers. And because we work with fermentation, we have this great opportunity to use fresh ingredients, but we also have to be incredibly careful about the way they react in the fermentation. So it's a balance, but we are quite far away from ultra processing, and that's just something I'm very proud of as part of our B Corp status, and I just want to keep going further and further away from that. And so for us personally, it's incredibly important. So it's more natural, it's healthier, it's low sugar. They're just the sort of fundamentals of the brand in the sector. And we also play into this, obviously. We have a lot of no and low alcohol drinks in there, and we found that the bigger brands are bringing out zero versions of everything. And so in a way that that's really exciting because it's growing, but the next logical step of that is these drinks which I'm calling functional non-alcoholic, because it's where it's sort of not enough just to be non-alcoholic now. You just need to be better. You need to be a B Corp. You need to be an ethical brand. You need to care about your ingredients, because customers don't have that choice. They're just presented certain things. So it's our responsibility to make the best drinks you possibly can and make them available. So we take that very seriously. And as the world learns more and more about processing and ingredients and these sweeteners, I feel very strongly about this, but we just can't use this. We need to protect people. So I think the category will catch up with that. And so having functionality within the drinks, and for us currently, it's organic acids, it's our polyphenols, it's the live cultures that are in there. We're only going to carry on and enhance that further down the line. So, and I think the industry will do that, because that's what we need to do in our world to keep ourselves healthy. It's just a natural direction. I hope that answers that.
Yes, it does. Good to you. Meg, you might have touched on this already, but anything else on how do you plan to increase brand awareness and reach going forward?
I mean, that's just the best brief in the world when you've got a product like this, in my view. So I think we've done a lot of work actually in the last half a year, just re-looking at the brand through the lens of the market conditions Mark's described, and Louise, we've just talked about functionality and so on. And so first thing we've done is just really clarified our positioning, and we're, that's been articulated today and will be articulated through our forward communications to the world from here. So I've talked about digital growth, and that starts really with a PR piece, and being able to have an always-on PR strategy is one thing, and something that brands will all do. What we are trying to create through PR to generate far greater reach, and as I always call them, numbers of eyeballs, is to create really sort of useful activations that are thought leading, that are innovative, and Louise's knowledge is authentically deep, and we really want to bring that out. We really
It's real.
So it's real. So that's just that's to be shared, because it's so informative and useful and energizing. So through our PR strategy, a number of activations to get the word out, and then a kind of an always on strategy through PR. Then when it comes to digital, the luxury of digital, of course, is the data set behind it. And so the whole flywheel of connectivity when you've got an e-commerce channel is really powerful for us. So we're able to use referral, we're able to build lifetime value through digital by leveraging that data set. It's very useful to us. Collaboration and partnership. Ellen does a fantastic job of collaborations and partnerships, working with other like-minded brands that, the synergies are just so ever present, and that obviously helps to grow the universe, the content and the people behind the business, always putting as much of that across as we are able. And on the digital side, we are trying all the levers around digital advertising, around affiliate marketing, around email, SEO, and we have a good investment in experimentation to really understand which of those are working hardest for us.
Beautiful.
Can I just add something to that? I mean, I think if you take an overall approach as to how the brand is thinking about marketing and brand awareness, we've made a very active decision to work disproportionately hard to make our drinks available in influential hospitality. Customers now being served in some of these places will build brand awareness, but also achieves the additional objective of getting people to actually try the drinks, which is tougher to do if you're just doing digital advertising or other forms of messaging. So it's messaging by being available and the implied endorsement of some of these influential stockers, but also then and it is hundreds of thousands of customers now every year that will be trying out drinks. And the type of customers that this is applicable for, or stockists, are the likes of Itsu, Nando's, who came on board earlier this year, Caravan most recently, Hawksmoor, Dissume, Granger & Co, many more, some fantastic independents as well. But this is a brand that's trying to sort of introduce itself and build a reputation through that channel. And then over time, hopefully customers will become more aware of the brand and continue to enjoy it in those places, but also perhaps look at how they buy the brand to enjoy at home. So that's a deliberate approach to structure our marketing that way.
That's right. In fact, we increased the sampling budget this year, didn't we? Because that is, the product speaks for itself, to your point.
Get the liquid on lips.
That's a technical term though.
Yeah.
I'm conscious of time, but we have some questions through in the chat. How do you plan to spend the money from the raise?
That one for me? Yeah. So I think this the sort of broad strategic direction that we've talked about is exactly that. That's exactly where we would invest it, and according to how successful we are, and we've had a lovely strong start, then we will be able to just go faster and harder and get to where we know the market is there, and we want to be able to fill that space and get there faster. So that is in the marketing and reach, obviously. It's also in being able to create that efficiency through the P&L that I talked about earlier. So where we might need investment to run this production more efficiently. So ultimately the result at the bottom line is improving all the time. So
brilliant. And hi all, I'm a big fan of the drinks. Curious to know if you have any plans for NPD.
Literally my favorite.
every day.
Don't give away too much.
So yeah, I'm like desperate to say things. Like I was saying before, the 750 ml sort of alternative to champagne range is only going to increase. I've got a new one coming out this summer that I'm really proud of. It's in progress, and then another avenue of MPD that we're going to start running through our D2C online shop channel, and to build direct relationships with our consumers and give them early access are drinks that we're describing as a sort of pet nat style. And they're going to be, it's very hard to talk about them without telling them people what it is, but I'm incredibly excited about experimenting more in the natural wine space, but non-alcoholic drinks, because we have products which are more widely available, and but I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a lot more possibilities for experimentation. You know,
We are back in the room. So we have some electricians knocking around outside. That's something, but we'll pick back up just where we left off. I think.
I was just in the middle of a lecture about MPD.
Giving away her trade secret.
Divine intervention, and I could go much further, but all I was going to say was there are lots of things to do in sort of more exciting, beautiful ingredients that I want to use, and I'm going to be testing a lot of things out on our online shop, because it's the perfect way to develop our reputation, our knowledge, our direct customer base, and we can do so much testing without spending. And it's a beautiful platform for that, for us to, and that's something we've been dialing up this year. Across the board, we've been talking about, we go out into the garden, we make drinks, we constantly experiment. So it's an extension of that, and then if it goes really well, we have the opportunity to launch it to the wider public. So lots of MPD in the pipeline. Watch this space.
Lots to come.
Sorry.
So I think that's more or less it. Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. And the campaign closes at midnight on Thursday the 21st. But if you think of any questions in the meantime, you can pop a question on the discussion board, or you can email us at fundraise@labrewery.co.uk. Don't know if you have anything else to add. No.
Well, just to say thank you. Well, thank you to Louise for creating this for all of us to work in and on, and to everyone that's taken part so far, supporting the business, Mark included, and to the team that are making it all happen. Looking forward to 24 and beyond, to coin a phrase.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.